Hello, powerful one. Welcome to this edition of Inner Growth with Osezuah, Elimihe. Have you ever heard the expression, self-confidence makes a man? What does that mean? It simply means that the vibe that the human being emits determines the human being's reality. That people, the environment, responds to a human being on the basis of the vibration that the person puts out. That you are a vibrational entity, not necessarily a verbal language entity. It is one thing for you to say something. It's another thing for you to mean something. Now, the capacity to mean is not the capacity to speak most of the time, because the meaning that you communicate forth is something that other people catch. Vibration catches vibration. If you have flies populating a particular space, you know that there is something putrefying in that place. Something is rotting there. When you have ravens gathered in large quantity, or vultures gathered in large quantity in a place, you know that there is a carrion, right there, a rotting flesh in that space. Therefore, life responds to aroma. Life responds to presence. Now, it is the presence that you give to life that life responds to. Okay? Life acts in the state of correspondency. So, whatever you are, you get a corresponding match to you. That is what it means when they say self-confidence makes a man. Right? Now, you also have heard the expression that states that somebody is looming larger than life. To be larger than life simply means that you are elevated than your physical environment. It means that the language of your being is higher, is superior to the language of your space. It is different from the language of people living around you. It is different from the courage, from the personality, from the ethos of life around you. How is it possible for somebody to have a personality that is distinctively superior to that person's environment, when we understand that it is the environment that furnishes the character and nature of a person? Now, that thing is just about the average person. The average human being is a product of their environment. But the human beings that understand what life is, that understand that life gives to them what they are, know that they cannot afford to be ordinary. That they have to live their life ignoring the life of the environment. What is the life of the environment? You see, people don't understand this. They thought in time past, and some still think today, that it is the environment that must shape them. Losers are shaped by their environment. But successful people, people of great results, shape themselves outside their environment. Yes, we say the environment provides the material with which we build our personalities. But you see, what the wise do is that they take the reverse material, not the exact material, they take the opposite of the material to build themselves. When your environment preaches hatred, when your environment preaches segregation, when your environment preaches poverty, lack, suppression, and subjugation, what should you be doing? You have to understand that this is one of the dirts, one of the filth, one of the layers of illusion that life is placing on the human person in order to reduce the human being from that human being's original stature, so that the society, the leaders of thought and opinion can subject them to their rules. No, sir. No, ma'am. I am not going to be your child. I am a child of the Supreme. Therefore, the material space cannot become my parents, rising above. So if society is teaching me to be hatesome, I teach myself to be loving. If society is teaching me to be angry, I teach myself to be calm and forgiving. If society is teaching ethnicity and segregation, I am teaching myself to be united, to see people from the lens of unity, of commonality, that we are all one, that there is no separation, that the society, the world creates divisions, creates sects in order to be able to reduce down our powers, so that when we are pocketed in little matchboxes, they can easily pick us and use as they please. When you get to the very top of the ladder, where these things are happening, we discover that on that ladder, there are black men, there are white men, there are Asians, there are other races present. In that same space, they create the laws that create segregation. Why? And unfortunately, these laws are not written for us to actually look at. They are unwritten laws just flying out there as spirits. So what are these spirits? They are actions of dead men. They are not actions of the living. They are actions that have no soul. They have no heart. They cannot be questioned. They are just dead. These are actions that are machinic by nature. They cannot be queried. They cannot be interrogated. They are loaded into human beings who run with them. So when you try to stop an officer of the law, an officer or a human being that is an agent of society, you want to reason with them, you are fooling yourself. They are not going to hear you because they are not capable of reasoning at that point in time. Okay? It is the same way with the human beings who have imbibed the nuances and the ethos of the society. There is no amount of logic you will give to them that will sway them because they are locked into that spirit. They are running by the content of that spirit. Therefore, you cannot sway them. It's not possible for them to reason. If at all they are going to reason in line with that spirit. There's a line of reasoning that is created by the spirit. They cannot go out of it. But the difference between a living human being who is not caged, who is not defined by the content of their environment, is that they are dynamic. They can hold an opinion today, this moment, and then a superior argument presents itself to them. On the basis of their dynamism, they can see that they have been wrong and they will make a detour and they will start all over again. But the person that is living within the nuances of a society, of a culture, cannot think that way. Because their lives are defined, molded, charted, and completed by the spirit of that society. You are not going to allow society to be your definer. You now say, okay, well, society will not define me, but my profession defines me, my religion defines me. That is the same thing we are talking about. Your society is a multifaceted organism. It is a machine, very powerful machine with so many parts. It has religious part, it has professional part, it has NGO part, it has different types of parts. And it is on the basis of these parts that they define you. And then, of course, we have the omnibus part, which is the political part, where policies of government, written or unwritten, define the life of anybody. If the government wants to propagate poverty so that people will not be strong enough to question the actions of government, they put in place policies that will encourage poverty. And then the news carries it and they start talking about poverty everywhere. People are dying of hunger. People are suffering in this country. And you see people who are paid to call into radio programs to be propagating such stories. And what happens is that the masses who listen to these programs, they are feeding this program in, and unwittingly, at the background of their being, that program says we are hungry. There's poverty in the land begins to rule them. Even the rich are ruled that way. How? They will not be hungry in their houses. No, because they have the resources. But their thoughts in relation to economy, in relation to investment, in relation to business, will be fueled by poverty, which then distills down and affects people at the bottom. They are scared to invest. They feel that the atmosphere is not right. Why? Because the spirit says there is poverty in the land, people are dying of hunger. And they begin to protect themselves, protect the ones that they have so that it will not be eroded. They feel that if we invest right now, it will fail. But it's not going to fail, but it will fail because the system says it will fail. Those are the kind of people that we have as agents of the system. The purpose of this channel is to ensure that you reverse your position in case you're already running the program of society. There's never a time the program of society is beautiful. There's never a time the program of society is in your favor. It's never in your favor. The program of society is bound to reduce human beings from what they are to becoming agents of that which is oppressive. Society has a goal that every human being should see themselves at worst as the physical body they are in and at best as mind, which means they are agents of the system. They are product of the system. My friend, you can't be the product of the system. It is difficult, but it is achievable. You ask me, how do we achieve it? Bullseye. Learn to take a break from the society. from time to time. Learn to break away from society. Learn to stay inwards. When you are busy all over the place doing everything you are doing, learn to take away. If it is just within 4 hours, you take out an hour. Do not spend the entire hour. Just take an hour out of 4 hours to sit away. Sit down quietly somewhere and just shut your eyes and be blank and see what happens to you. Okay, now learn to detach from the space. So when you are still like that, what is going to happen is that thoughts will start pouring to you, because the machine of the society will be aware instantly that one person is plugging out of the matrix, and that is abnormal. And the way the system will attack you is to now send thoughts to you. When the thoughts come, ignore them. The capacity to ignore is a power capacity. It's a human capacity which many of us should be exercising. So when the thoughts start pouring at you, just ignore. Don't attack the thought. Don't resist the thought. Don't argue with the thought. Don't analyze the thought. Just ignore. It's so difficult? No. Ignore. It can be difficult at the start, we know, but practice with ignoring. When you keep doing that, you will discover that over time, when you come out of that space and you are relating with people, you find out that you now have the capacity to ignore people's inanities. You find out that when people say things to make you mad, you are not mad anymore. You find out that when you are engaged in political discussions, things that make people flare, that make your society go bananas, you'll be shocked that you are not towing that line. You are just calm. You are just there. The sides you used to take, you no longer take them anymore. This is where it happens. You know, there's a song they say, great change since I'm born again. Great change since I'm born again. The things I used to do. Now, the way you get that kind of power is by meditation. It's by staying away from the machine. Unplug from the machine for a moment and just stay. And before you go to bed every day, unplug from the machine. Don't get hooked on the machine while you are going to sleep, because that's when it feeds you many things. Unplug. I said in one of my videos that when you must listen to the news, please listen to the news fully alert. Don't listen to programs, news, while you are dozing off, because that time your subconscious gateway is wide open, and those ethos, the spirit of the news, will seep into you, and you start living that life subconsciously. When you are alert, your subconscious gateway is shut, and then your consciousness is open to see things. And I said again that when your consciousness dawns on any negative thing, your consciousness will dissolve that thing. It will destroy it, because your consciousness is light and negativity is darkness. When light shines on darkness, the darkness is fizzled. But the thing is this: when you doze off in the midst of negativity, they are just seeping right into you. This is why when you want to go to bed, you unplug by doing what? By simply going into affirmation. Let that be the last thing that is in your mind before you sleep off. The next thing is to pick a good book to read. Read that good book to sleep. It will help reprogram your mind from the system. Please, I'm not asking you to go and read lower vibrational content like revolutionary content, like hate song, all those kind of things. No political document. No, read things that are fresh. Even the Bible, if you have to read the Bible, select places to read. Like my pastor told me when I was 11 years old. He said, son, read the New Testament, especially where the Lord Jesus Christ is speaking. That will help you develop yourself. And God bless him, Pastor James Onyenobi, for giving me that advice. It has worked. You see, when you read the Lord Jesus Christ, you find out that you are learning purity, you are learning positive thoughts. So his thoughts distilled into you, you go to bed on it. It is fantastic. It's a pity the writings of great masters like Christ, like Kabir Sahib, like Guru Nanak, like Kirpa Singh, and the rest of them are not common out there. If you have access to the writings of those people, you can read it before you go to bed. They are pure, peaceful things. They are not religious. They are not partitive. They are not historic. They are not anything that you can think about that will create a kind of revolutionary thought in you. They are things that remind you that, hey, young man, hey, young woman, you are a human being above all things else. You were human before you became cultural, and you have to be human above cultural. Now, rising above the environment you find yourself is key. For example, to rise above the environment doesn't mean you have to bash the environment. No, Accept where you are. Let's talk about your private environment now. Let us assume you have a goal to be successful. You have a goal to be healthy, but your environment is very negative. It's very contradictory to these things. And the way you are right now is a product of the environment. Therefore, you want to change it. Don't fight the environment. Don't attack the environment. Accept the environment for what it is and be grateful for it. That's the first one. Then the next thing you need to do is to now sink in the understanding that you can change your situation by first being who you are mentally. And so you respond to positive things that give you the ideal life. So how can you live the life of your dream when the physicality, the evidence of your now is contradicting that life? That is the question, but that is the rule. The rule simply states that if you want to create your life, you have to create it mentally first. You have to live that life first. So get yourself acquainted with materials that support that life. I would say watch movie content that support that life. If you want to have a new house, for example, and your environment is poor and you are living in a very squalid environment, what should you be doing? I would say browse content where great houses are being built, real estate videos, real estate magazines. Look at these things when you wake up in the morning, flip through those materials. Before you go to bed, flip through them. In the moment when you are depressed, you are not feeling good, go to those materials and look at them. And tell yourself, I deserve this house. This is where I belong. I am capable of having this thing. All the materials, all the mentality, all the personalities, all the contact, all the habits that will bring this house to me, I am open to them. While you are looking at all this is the thought that should be going through your mind. You can be going through car magazines and be looking through them and just be telling yourself, I deserve this. If you are unwell, look at magazines of wellness, people who are healthy, who are strong, who are doing sport, and you tell yourself, these are my kings. I belong in this community. I am healthy, I am wealthy, and I am worthy of health. All the habits, all the characteristics that bring about health, that brings about strength, that brings about fitness, I am open to them. I am living them. You see, when your mind is fit, man, the physical environment will begin to change. Because it is your mind that changes the physical environment, not the other way around.
Hananaye,